Here are 10 mistakes you might be making as you look for a musical theater writing collaborator. I speak with aspiring and emerging musical theater writers all the time, and these are the most common things I hear. I can't find a collaborator for my show. I've written most everything, but I need someone who can write the... usually music. I can't get anyone to agree to be my collaborator. Where can I find someone who can or who is... This you? If it is, listen up, because we've got some errors to correct, especially number 3. Mistake number 1, they don't know who they need. People are often unsure of what skills are actually required in the collaborator that they are looking for. Not to pick on lyricists. Okay, I'm gonna pick on lyricists for just a minute here. A lot of them don't know enough about music to know the differences in styles and in skill sets from one composer to another. This makes it very difficult to figure out who it is that you're actually looking for. And to flip it over on composers for a second, they often seem to think that since we can all speak the same words, that all lyricists do the same thing. Nerp. Not all lyricists are built the same. You need to know what skills your collaborator needs to have in order to find them. But since you can't know what you don't know, this does mean that you do need to do some research on the parts of the collaboration that you don't plan to take part in. Lyricists, learn some music stuff. Composers, learn some word stuff. Onward. Mistake number 2, they don't actually know how to collaborate. My lovely baby squirrels, you cannot go into a collaboration without having an idea of what it actually means to be in a collaboration. I've seen people try it and the results were not good. Disaster comes to mind. Now perhaps you just don't know because you've never done it before, and that is totally understandable. If you've never written in a collaboration, it's hard to know how it can, could, or should go. For others, this may be less about never having done it before, but more of not having had the ability to practice it. Perhaps you've written some one-off collaborations before, but you've never done it in a longer-term capacity. And for some, maybe they've only tried collaborating in one specific way before and haven't had the opportunity to branch out and try collaborating in different types and styles. No matter where you fall on the spectrum, it is crucial that you begin figuring out what collaboration looks like and feels like by doing it. Find some folks to write a song or two with. This doesn't have to be long-term. And along the way, you will figure out what your own preferences and styles are in collaboration, as well as what it looks like and feels like to work in collaboration with different types of people. I do find that people tend to be pretty game for one-off collaborations, so it shouldn't be too difficult to do this kind of exploration. And of course, there are programs out there that build this practice directly into the educational experience, like BMI or the Flagship course, so do check those out as well. They're a great way to get the practice in, and fast. Mistake number 3, they're looking for someone to sign on to their show, but not as a work for hire. This might be the biggest mistake I see, and it does also lead to most of the other mistakes that come after this. About 90% of the time, when someone comes to me saying that they are looking for a collaborator and cannot find one, it is because of this precise situation. They have a show idea that they love, that they've been working on diligently for probably a period of time that's pretty long, doing all the parts of the writing that they know how to do, but they're looking for someone to do those things that they don't have the skills for. This is usually 1 or 2 parts of the collaboration. This could be composition, accompaniment, arrangement, general songwriting, or even book writing, which you can mostly read as dialogue writing. This is the big old trap, and these writers have put themselves directly into it. And here's why. When you have a show idea that you love and are attached to, and you've already gone through the planning and writing processes, maybe even some of the development, and you've done all of that without the collaborator you need, then you found yourself in a situation where you need to have a unicorn. I like to call this the unicorn search. Because, and writers don't like to hear this, although it is true, no one is going to care as deeply about your show as you do. No one. The writers of a show are like the parents. There's this special bond of creation that exists. And there may be others who love these kids deeply, grandparents, aunts, uncles, family friends, etc. But they will not share the same type of love and the same depth of love as the parents do. So although you may find people who love the show you're writing, directors, producers, designers, and yes, potential collaborators, they will not love it with the same depth that you do. Which means at this point in your search, you're looking for someone who has all the skills that you don't have, is happy to sign on to a show that they didn't help originate, and is happy to sign on as an unpaid collaborator and not a work for hire. I won't say it isn't possible, because it is, but it's kind of a needle in a haystack situation. The best solution for this is actually not a solution at all. It's more of a preventative measure. Find your collaborators first, the people you gravitate toward, work well with, and love, and together come up with a project that you want to write. Then you will together as a team become the parents of this project. Put that horse before the cart, my friends, and you will have no problem finding your collaborators. Mistake number 4, they don't want to pay someone. This is more of an addendum to the previous mistake. If you do find yourself in that position where you need that unicorn and you just cannot find them, you will likely have to pay someone to do the work that you are unable to do. And when I say unable, I do mean in a lot of cases unable, but also unwilling. Can this be annoying? Sure. Can it add up quickly? Oh yeah. Honestly, in what I've seen, this kind of a situation does end up being a work for hire situation, which is why I do recommend to find your collaborators first. See mistake number 3 again if you need those details. Mistake number 5, they want to maintain full control. Whether you're trapped in mistake number 3 or not, this one creeps up all the time. If the ground rules of the collaboration have not been laid out in a way where one person has greater control over the project than everyone else involved in the collaboration, then you don't actually have more control. I'm not a lawyer and this is not legal advice, but I don't think that anything is official in terms of the power balance of a collaboration until a contract is signed. But even taking the legal side out of it, one person wanting full control over the piece isn't really working in collaboration anyway. That's more the spirit of hierarchy and delegation, and well, at that point, just hire people. And if you don't want to hire people, then enter into a collaboration in the spirit of sharing, generosity, even distribution of work, and of ownership. One person having more control than the rest of them is just not how this thing works. If this video has been helpful or interesting to you at all so far, please give it a little like so it can spread to more wonderful people like you. Thanks. Mistake number 6, they want to work one way and one way only. Honestly, if you've done the work of experimenting with different collaborators and different types of collaboration, then this one's not going to be much of a problem for you. Once you've played around and realized the different ways that you like to collaborate and are able to collaborate, then you will realize that you have a lot more flexibility than you first thought when you began thinking about musical theater writing collaboration. But if you do insist on collaborating rigidly, and there are some legitimate reasons to do so, then just know that you're limiting the playing field as far as the types of collaborators who will be able and willing to collaborate with you. Still doable, but having more openness will net a larger range of possible collaborators. Mistake number 7, they don't want to fail in front of someone else. My squirrels, I get it. It's tough. Every time I start a new collaboration, I have to get over this fear all over again. And the way I usually do that is by simply plowing through and putting some really bad, like first drafty type ideas directly into my collaborator's face. Because we all need permission to start with something that sucks, so then we can take that suckage and spin it into gold. Wow, I'm a poet today. And this does mean being comfortable throwing bad ideas into the ring in the hopes that, together, as a collaborative team, you can find the spark of something better, and then better, and better, and all of that will lead eventually to the best idea. But you do need to be willing to provide a safe, judgment-free zone for your collaborators in the hopes that they will also do the same thing for you. Only at that point will you have the ability to just start going for it. Mistake number 8, they want their collaborator to provide validation. I'm gonna stop you right there. This one is a hard one to swallow. It is not your collaborators or really anyone else's job to provide you with validation on your skills or your work. It is your collaborator's job to affirm for you what is working and what is not working in the process. But that's not the same as validation. If you struggle with imposter syndrome, guilt, or shame, and I know that many creatives do, that is the inner work that you're gonna have to go do, work through, and process. I strongly suggest that everyone be in therapy, just like generally speaking, but especially if you have this type of inner work to do. The guidance of a therapist is critical. All this being said, that affirmation piece is important in a collaboration, which means that you do have to have collaborators that have matching personalities. A collaboration can often feel like a relationship or a marriage in a long-term collaboration, and you need to be truly compatible for it to work to its highest potential. Mistake number 9, they want someone else to find their collaborator for them. Would you trust someone else to find your spouse for you? Probably not, right? Then do not hand this work and power off to someone else either. I know it can be hard work and take time to find the right collaborator. It takes striking up conversations and being the one to initiate something, to try one-off collaborations, to see if the style is a fit, if the personalities are a fit. It's hard, I get it. But really, this means that you are the only one who can do this work. No one else really could, even if they were willing, and most people are not going to be willing. Take back your power and control and go find who you're looking for. I have faith in you. You can do that. Mistake number 10, they don't know where to look. Yep, heard. There are not a ton of places to look for collaborators, but there's probably more than you think. There are, of course, the big old Facebook groups that exist with the words composer, lyricist, musical theater writer in the title, and those can be a decent starting place. There is, of course, my community, the Musical Theater Writing Collective. There are also communities and pockets of musical theater writers on TikTok and on Reddit threads. And possibly most effectively, there are those courses, like my Flagship course, which allow you to do a little bit of writer speed dating throughout the period of time. I'll drop a link to that in the description below. But also don't forget about your networks of people, because although you may not know other writers per se, you will know other people who work in this industry, and they might know other writers. Plus, you can always go to a show or an event and start striking up conversations. Every interaction is one step closer to a potential collaborator. But like I said early on, none of this really matters if you don't know what collaboration really is or what it can look like. And if you want to know more about that, then you should watch this video next. Otherwise, thank you all for being here with me today, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers!